When it comes to overspending, it is time to join the resistance. In today's world, it feels like your spending is often being dictated by outside forces because, indeed, it is. Everywhere you look, there are ads, billboards, pop-ups, social media telling you that you need to purchase items and spend more of your hard-earned money on stuff.
In this video, we'll explore common ways that we can see that society or others are helping you spend your money and give you some ways to combat that.
But first, if you don't know us, I'm Hope.
And I'm Larry.
This is Under the Median, where every week we talk about practical frugality. The first one is undoubtedly one of the number one ways that we are impacted in society right now, and that is through social media. Here's what we forget about social media. When you're scrolling through somebody's picture-perfect vacation, you are only seeing the moments they want you to see. You're not seeing the fact that their flight was delayed and they got there 4 hours later and they had jet lag for a day and a half and their luggage was lost at the airport. You're only seeing that European vacation on those sunny streets with the flowers in the background and the castles in the background. That's all you're seeing. But I think we have to all admit, when we see photographs of others, particularly those that we know, we're not even talking celebrity photos, right? These are from people
Just
that
friends.
we actually know.
Yeah.
And we see them enjoying these luxury vacations. It does make us feel a little bit less than that we're not spending money on the same sorts of experiences.
It doesn't show you what goes on behind the scenes. How much did they pay for that vacation? How much did they plan for it? Were they really ready to do something like that? And did they have the money to really go and do that?
Or did they put it all on credit cards? The point is, go into social media with your eyes wide open.
Right.
Understanding you're only seeing part of the full picture and you don't know anything going on behind the scenes.
This leads right into our second point, which is the comparison trap. It's really easy to compare what you're doing with other couples who are good friends of yours. You might see them going and enjoying certain things that you probably can't afford, things that are not in your budget. And you don't know what their budget is or how that they're really handling their money in the first place. So it's always a bad idea to compare your lifestyle with the lifestyle of somebody else. I think the best way to combat this one is to compare yourself with yourself. Compare what you're doing now to what you were doing 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and look at the progress that you've made in that amount of time. Maybe you've only been frugal for a short time. Well, go back to before you were frugal and take a look at how you were spending money and how far it was going and how far it's going now. That is the best way to compare.
Keeping up with the trends. This is something that we have seen come and go because you know what? Trends, they come and go.
Yes.
What is popular this season is not going to be popular next season. I had a lady stop me at church and say, "So you shop at Goodwill?" I'm like, "Well, yes, I do." And she said, "Aren't you afraid that you won't be in with the newest trends?" And I said, "I wouldn't even know enough to know what the newest trends are. I choose my clothing because I think it looks good.
Or it's comfortable.
It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
It's comfortable. I like the way it fits me. I pay
Right.
little attention to name brands, except that sometimes when I do come across name brands at Goodwill, I realize that I am paying $250 for a blouse that someone else just paid $75 for, wore twice, and then donated to Goodwill. I think that you can still dress in a way that is very timeless, very classy, and you don't necessarily have to worry about how much money that you spent on that item. Who really cares? You care, you look good in it.
The problem with keeping up with trends is that trends are always in a state of flux. So what might be trendy for the summer of 2024 may not be trendy for the summer of 2025. And it's to me, it's just a bad idea. Everybody has to do what they're very comfortable with. But I don't think that trends is a good way to handle things financially.
It all narrows down to our next point, which is peer pressure.
Yes.
We call this keeping up with the Joneses. And I always, when we talk about this, quote my father-in-law, who told me, "Hope, the problem with keeping up with the Joneses is about the time you catch up with them, they refinance and they leave you behind again." The Joneses, that's just kind of a nebulous thing. We get this idea in our mind that we have to drive the right kind of car, we have to wear the right kind of clothes, we have to live in the right neighborhood, we have to send our kids to the right schools in order to A, be a good person, be a responsible person, be a good parent, be someone who is worthy of being looked up to. We convince ourselves of these things and we start following these trends, hoping that we will catch the attention of the Joneses, whoever they are, and then maybe they'll be friends with us. You know, we have been friends for long periods of time with people who make a whole lot more money than we do. You know what they like about us? That we're real.
Yeah.
We had friends that came over and told us when we want just a really dose of reality, of good home cooking, of talking to good friends without the pressure of feeling like we have to keep up with other people in our social circle, we come to your house.
You know, it's funny. My parents lived in a home that was not trendy. They had old furniture. They had a bookcase that they had purchased shortly after they were married. They had a kitchen set that they bought very shortly after they were married. They had very old things, but they kept it really nice. They kept it fixed up nice. And you know what? Their house was the most popular home for people to come and be entertained because they were just warm and friendly, and they loved people, and they looked at people for what they were, and that's what was important to them, not the things in their home.
You know what's funny about that story? We actually own that bookcase right now.
We still have it, yeah.
And the kitchen table.
We have the kitchen table.
It's in our house too.
That's right.
All right, the next point is cultural expectations for milestones. This is big. Any of you who have ever had a child get married, graduate from high school, any of those big things, society has a specific way that they tell you you must celebrate those milestones. Our youngest son is getting ready to graduate from high school. We will do the same thing with his graduation party we did with all the other 3 boys. We set a top budget, and then we know we're going to spend a certain amount on, say, paper plates, napkins, decor, things like that. We get the kids involved in it. We say, here is the amount of money that we have slated for food for your party. And we let them plan it together with us. They get the food that they want, and they understand by the end of the process how they had to change those food selections in order to fit within the budget. And we give them a very reasonable budget. It's not a real slim budget, but it's very reasonable for feeding the amount of people they want to invite to their party. I think that that is the solution to a lot of things, is making sure that your kids are happy with the experience, and then it won't matter to them so much whether their friends or their friends' parents are happy with the experience or not, as long as they are satisfied with the experience. And I think that's possible on a budget.
And when you bring your children and get them involved in a situation like that, it gives them appreciation for what you're doing. They understand why you're making the decisions that you're making, and chances are they'll replicate those things when they get to be adults.
Now let's talk about when you are invited to these things. There is an expectation for how much money you're going to spend on the birthday presents, for all the parties that your kids are invited to, for baby showers, for wedding showers.
Yeah. So many.
One of the things that we have done is we have set a specific budget for specific occasions. And we know, for instance, for a graduation gift, we're going to spend between $10 and $20. I believe that giving a gift that has been carefully chosen or carefully created from scratch for that person, and it just resonates with who they are, that's going to be far more appreciated than something that you spent a lot of money on.
Yeah, it becomes more meaningful to the recipient.
We're headed into holidays, guys. Don't go away, because that is the next thing we're going to talk about. But first, if you're looking for ways to cut your budget and cut your spending, you want our free guide to radically reducing your expenses. It's all the ways that we cut our expenses in order to save for great big goals. It's free. There'll be a link in the video description. Now let's talk about holidays. This was a request from one of our viewers. How do you keep the holiday costs down? One of the things that we do is we start saving in January for the holidays in December.
Yeah, by the time we get to December, we've already saved up the amount of money that we're going to spend on, let's say, Christmas. We know how much we're going to use for gifts, and we've really reduced the list down to who we buy for.
I will say that when we gained daughters-in-laws, our Christmas budget did go up some. We did, because look, I had 4 boys, guys, and this was the first time I've been able to buy girly gifts, and I am just absolutely giddy. I'm not going to lie. So we did increase the budget. We didn't double the budget, but we certainly increased the budget. We figured out ways we could save that. For instance, All of our fetch points, we save up and then we redeem those for Amazon gift cards
Amazon.
right around the holidays. We use those Amazon gift cards specifically to take the edge off of our Christmas budget. We also shop clearance sales throughout the year. We set those items aside. Once again, we find out exactly what these people are going to like, what they're going to enjoy, and we set the gifts aside as we go through the year. The other thing that we would really encourage you to do, look, guys, you have to make a complete list. And that's part of the problem. People look at this Christmas budget and say, well, it's just gifts. No.
More to it than that.
Christmas is far more than that.
Decorations, the food that you might be entertaining with if you have them over to your house. There are just so many, I would call them almost hidden costs.
If you're interested in how we plan for the holidays and like all the forms that we use to try to figure out what we're buying and keep track of everything as we buy it throughout the year, we have a debt-free Christmas binder that is available. It's only $17, guys. I'm going to leave a link for it in the description of the video just in case you are one of those people who is right now figuring out that holiday season as you move forward. Let's talk just a second about the societal expectations of Christmas. One of the things that you get are those gifts that are being bought as an office, and they expect that everybody is going to donate a specific amount of money to that gift fund. You can either bake that into your Christmas budget, and you can say, I've already set aside $25 for the boss's gift, and that's what you give is $25, regardless of what they expect you to give.
Right.
Or you can buy the boss something different and say, you know what, I found something that he or she is really going to enjoy. I already bought it, so I'm just going to give my own gift. Thanks very much. And you just don't participate. When it comes to school gifts, gifts for teachers, once again, I think I would err on the side of getting something small but meaningful.
Yes.
I try to find things on clearance and just duplicate that same gift for however many teachers that you need to buy for. And that is a super helpful way to get it, because sometimes if you're buying in bulk, you're going to get a discount too, depending on how many teachers you need to buy for. We hope that that was super helpful to answer the viewer question about how you deal with the holidays.
Another category here is retail sales and discounts. Now, the people that manufacture items that they want you to purchase are really good at promoting them and making them look good, making it look like to you, you need that item. That's part of how they promote. You need this, this will help you, this will add so much quality to your daily living, but it's also going to take away your money, so it may not be a good deal. One of the ways that we kind of deal with this is we allow a cooling off period, anywhere from 48 hours to maybe even a week before we actually make a purchase like this. We do some research. I'll go and I'll talk to Hope. I'll talk to my partner and say, you know, what do you think about this? What's your opinion? Here's what they're saying this product is. Here's what they are saying that it could do to enhance our living quality. Do you think it's worth it? And if she disagrees, one of the things that we use as a rule, general rule in purchasing things, if one of us disagrees about that item, we don't do it.
Generally, we have found that if one of us is like, I feel kind of squeamish about that, usually there's a reason one or the other of us. And, you know, and this is why God puts people together who have opposite personalities much of the time, is because, you know, one of us can be a spender and one of us a natural saver, and we balance each other out. He reminds me that it's okay to spend money.
Yeah.
If we have set it aside for something specific, honestly, even after all these years of frugal living, it's hard for me to spend money. And that's why he is just wonderful at balancing me out and saying, we have budgeted for this. It's in the budget. Let's spend the money. There's nothing wrong with spending money. Please don't get that from this video.
Not at all. Not at all.
We're all about saving money and paying cash for what you want.
Right.
But I think people get so hung up on, if I spend money, I'm not being frugal. No, if you plan for something and the money is there and the money is in your budget, spend the money and do so with a clear conscience and feeling fantastic about it. Spend money when you're ready to spend the money, but not before then. And I think that society tells you, spend it now.
Right. Society doesn't put any parameters
Yeah.
on how they want you to spend money. We do. We decide how much we're going to spend, how much we're going to allocate, and what we're going to purchase with it. And we wait until we get a really good deal and get a nice product that's well made, that's got a good reputation, that's going to hold up. It's not going to break down in 4 days after we've purchased the item. We want to make sure we've done our due diligence in researching that before we purchase it. So this way it saves us a lot of extra time and effort in purchasing things that we really shouldn't buy.
Now, we're giving you some specific ideas for how to deal with societal expectations of how you should spend your money and where that pressure is really coming from.
Yeah.
But let's just say you want some very specific ideas on strategies to stop yourself from spending money or overspending money. We did a video on it. We gave you like 20 different strategies that we personally have used. If you want specific ideas, the video is right over there. Go take a look.